Thanks.
Now to the widening IRS scandal. Besides just targeting Tea Partiers, now we're hearing it also improperly scrutinized several political candidates and donors. We're talking about the IRS here. And by the way, the Justice Department reportedly declined to prosecute these cases. All rise. Judge Andrew Napolitano is here to help us keep up with this mess, because...
How do you get a prosecutor to prosecute?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess you shame him into it. I mean, this is an enormously complex issue. The president has rock-solid control over the IRS. The Congress gave it to him, not to this president, but to Woodrow Wilson, the first president that had the IRS. This is the 100th anniversary of it. It's had different names. It's basically been the income tax collector. And they intentionally gave the president wiggle room, so that whichever party is in power can use the IRS to torment their enemies. Republicans want Republican presidents to have this power. Democrats in Congress want Democratic presidents to have this power. So what do we do when the abuse is gross abuse, and when it's across the board, and when the president and his attorney general won't do anything about it? We shame them into it. The Congress, the House is controlled by the Republicans.
Exactly how? Who are we, by the way? We, the people, the viewers of this show, elected representatives? Who actually does this?
The House of Representatives is controlled by the Republicans, so it has subpoena power. It also has immunity granting power. It can grant involuntary immunity. It can take Lois Lerner or whoever in the IRS its investigators believe has the most knowledge about the who, what, when, where, how, and why of this scandal. Give that person immunity, Charles, and then they don't have a Fifth Amendment right. Then they must testify, because nothing they say can be used against them. But it can be used against others. And that treasure trove of information, which will come from her, can then be used to pressure and shame the executive branch into doing something about it. If they absolutely won't, no matter what the facts, then we have to elect a government in 2016, the statute of limitations will not have run, that will prosecute its predecessors. That's almost
Can you do that?
You can do it, but that's almost unheard of.
Right. J. Russell George apparently did ask Attorney General Holder about some of the selective prosecution. Apparently there were 4 cases since 2006. One that they say, or at least he believes, was willful. And he did ask Attorney General Holder about this, and there's been no answer. And apparently Chuck Grassley has given Holder July 26th to come up with the answer. Well, do we start moving the ball after that? Do we become more aggressive? Because it feels like this stuff is drawn out and the public loses interest.
Well, I think it feels that way because of the Zimmerman trial. I mean, the president actually benefited by being off the front pages. Snowden was off the front page. The president was off the front page. The spies were off the front page, and the scandals at the IRS were off the front page. Even though it is now the middle of the summer, it's the middle of July, right. I think this stuff will get back onto the front page, and the more it is there, the more people like we talk about it, the more the public will resonate. But I am scandalized. You and I have talked about this on Varney and Company elsewhere, Charles. Where's the outrage? Yeah. Where is the outrage? The government is spying on 90% of Americans. The IRS is cheating and revealing private information and tormenting the president's opponents, and nobody's outraged about it, except maybe you and me.
As a people, we've just given away our rights, and we assume that we should be abused this way. And it just feels like it's a no. But maybe part of the problem, you touched on it earlier, is that both parties seem reluctant to make any change, because when you come in power, you get to do this. I mean, you get to use the IRS as a billy club to intimidate and to bludgeon your opponents.
Like everything Barack Obama is doing with the IRS, Richard Nixon did. And, of course, JFK also did, and FDR. I'm not just picking on the Democrats, but both parties have done this. That's why the Congress will not change the statute to take it away from the president. You think they'll ever make the IRS something like the Postal Service, which is truly neutral? Never. You just won't see it happen.
That's why there's no shame in this.
Ask me what I think we should do with the IRS. Abolish it.
Hey, it wasn't around forever, right? We were a great country before we had it. Thanks a lot, Judge. Appreciate it.
Pleasure, Charles.
Hey.